right now, the severe thunderstorm watch.
Quite a day severe weather-wise. You can get those in June, though. We have no less than 6 severe weather watches out, 2 of those tornado watches. And right now, 5 different counties in parts of Nebraska and Iowa are under tornado warnings at the present time. We'll give you all the complete information on the severe weather in just a moment. But let's turn our attention to the tropics right now. We're a couple of weeks into the Atlantic hurricane season. With the very latest, here's our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons.
Well, thanks, Jeff. And we've been monitoring a couple features primarily in the eastern Pacific. We're going to go there in just a second, but first let's take a look at the Atlantic Basin. You can see right now for our favorable or neutral development areas or unfavorable development areas, we see nothing potential to develop in the Atlantic Basin tonight. However, in the eastern Pacific, we do see this favorable area, and we do have tropical depression number 2 out there that's heading in the general direction of tropical storm strength over the next couple of days. There it is right there, and it's moving very slowly to the west-northwest away from the Mexican coast. I know you surfers up here in Southern California are anxious to get some surf from that. It's going to have to clear about 113 degrees west. That's a magic longitude before you see any surf from it. And I'll give you some updates on that. But as we zoom in on it, you can see the latest information from the Hurricane Center as of 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Just about 15 north, 108 west, 590 miles south-southeast of Cabo San Lucas. Winds 35 miles per hour. That's only 5 miles per hour shy. Tropical storm strength moving west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. And you can see it here on the visible satellite imagery. It turns out that the circulation center is right up in here on the northeast side of that. It's almost in the clear area. Strongest winds are down here around the southeast side. You can bring some surf to northern Mexico here along the Mexican Riviera, but nothing to Southern California yet. And if that becomes tropical storm, it'll be Tropical Storm Bud, the second one of the year. We already had Aletta. Now into the Atlantic Basin we go, and we see basically a lot of shower activity for the southern islands, some shower activity for the central islands. Puerto Rico still got some rain, and a lot of rainfall here associated with an upper level low pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's go there first since it's closest to home. Low pressure center here. A lot of shower activity, mostly still over the Gulf of Mexico, but some of that is still creeping north with moisture, and a lot of the shower activity is indirectly related to that upper level low pressure system. We'll continue to monitor that very carefully. Out on the Caribbean, not much happening other than some showers across the area. So with that, let's get back to the severe weather in the upper Midwest with Jeff.
Well, indeed, Steve, we have plenty to talk about here. Here's where the severe weather threat is. Anywhere where you see the red shading from Minnesota and North Dakota all the way into parts of Oklahoma and right here through the central parts of the Ohio Valley. Look at all the severe weather watches that are out, although one has just been canceled, and that would be one here in parts of Iowa as well as Missouri and Illinois. A little piece of one left here. That has been canceled. So now we have 5 different severe weather watches. 3 of them here, the yellow shaded areas, are the severe thunderstorm watches, and the red shading, including the Omaha area here in Nebraska, Lincoln, and down to Topeka, Kansas, and even into Oklahoma, those are tornado watches. Now I'll put the radar up behind me here. Look at these big storms, particularly north and south of Omaha. Then the line continues down into parts of Kansas. We have 5 different counties now under tornado warnings. Harrison and Shelby counties in southwest Iowa, because of this cell right here, are under tornado warnings till the top of the hour. Otoe County and Fremont County, that's Otoe in southeast Nebraska and Fremont in southwest Iowa, right in this area, again under tornado warnings. And also Mills County, also in southwest Iowa, under a tornado warning as well until 15 minutes after the top of the hour. So again, this area just getting rocked, and we have had some reports of some tornadoes touching down here. No reports of any damage or injury at this point. As we head farther north, just an area of steadier rain in western areas of North Dakota. Chicago, you're okay for now, but watch out later on this evening.
This half hour is brought to you by LaurasHealth.com. Information for better health.
I like to leave my problems at home when I drive. But if I can't leave them at home, I tell them they can come along. But only if they shut up and enjoy the ride.
That roach thing thinks he's got it made. A mere scamper into the pantry. Only this home...
On the map today, no doubt about it. Thanks for tuning in to Stormwatch. I'm Mike Bono. We have had some tornadoes reported in parts of the Midwest and still some very strong thunderstorms with flooding rains moving through, but some action and development in the tropics too. We'll get back to the States after we take a look at newly named Tropical Storm Bud. Bud is now out in the direction of west of Acapulco, and it's no threat to Acapulco because it's moving out to the west over the water. Acapulco being about this area, Bud is headed out away, west at 9 miles an hour. It's a little under 600 miles south of Cabo San Lucas, the tip of the Baja, and it looks like that west through west-northwest track should continue over the next couple of days. We're looking at a max wind speed of 45 miles an hour. Now 39 sustained this tropical storm, so it is our second named storm after Hurricane Aleta in the eastern Pacific. We have had no named storms or hurricanes yet in the Atlantic, Gulf, or Caribbean. Estimated pressure, 997 millibars. It's looking well organized, and you can see that rolling effect as it rolls its way westward. Some convection building up, meaning these high cloud tops are getting higher and colder and expanding out a little bit near the center, and some spiral banding around it too. So it's looking pretty healthy. It's in the developmental stages, and it may get pretty close to being a hurricane within the next 24 hours. Now, these clouds are indicative of some cooler air and more stable air not too far from the surface, and also the water gets cooler out there too, so it has just so much time before it runs into much less favorable conditions for development. We don't see it as any threat to land right now, and that's good news. Back in the Atlantic, in the month of June, in about 113 years, we see development 62 times, which is at most once every 2 years. So we don't typically see a storm in June except once every other year. The eastern Atlantic, almost nil for development this time of the year, occasionally mid-tropical Atlantic off the coast of Florida, but if it's going to happen, more likely in the Gulf, Bay of Campeche, or western Caribbean Sea. We have had our first tropical depression. That was back about 5 or 6 days ago over the Bay of Campeche, which weakened rapidly. You could see the mass movement of clouds and waves and even upper-level systems from east to west right now. We get tropical waves moving off Africa pretty actively, but they run into some cold water out there and lose their high cloud tops and their intense rainfall. Other waves running into westerly winds right now over the Caribbean Sea, which doesn't really allow development either. One wave came rolling off about a day and a half ago, and you can still see maybe a small low-pressure system out there over relatively cool water, Cape Verde Islands, but it may work its way across the Atlantic. Again, development chances very, very slight in that part of the Atlantic, but we'll keep an eye on these waves as well as the next one that's moving off Africa. Meanwhile, a lot of southwesterly winds over the Windward and Leeward Islands, and that not really favoring tropical development at all, although there's a pretty rainy wave headed on toward Trinidad, Tobago, and the South American coastline. We've also been watching an upper-level low and trough over the Gulf of Mexico that seems to be interacting with a tropical wave right now and picking up the pitch of the rainfall around the Yucatan Channel and back toward the Yucatan. Again, an upper-level low, and that usually doesn't support tropical development at all, but we'll keep an eye on this rain area, and it could even benefit the Gulf coastal states with some much-needed rain in the next couple of days, and that doesn't include Texas. You've gotten clobbered with heavy rain recently, but some of the other areas that haven't gotten any could benefit from this in the next 5 days. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Current weather map showing that tropical flow all the way up to the Ohio River and then some, but an upper-level trough and a front slicing through that with intense thunderstorms, even some isolated reports of tornadoes now in North Dakota and parts of Iowa around Omaha. The white wind gusts that, well, that's hail, and the blue wind gusts that have exceeded 60 and 70 miles an hour. We still have severe thunderstorm watches from Texas through Wisconsin and a remnant of a tornado watch as a frontal system loops its way through that area. Some trouble spots now around the Wichita area with a very intense storm in your vicinity and some big thunderstorms moving rapidly past Kansas City and some action headed across the river from Iowa into Wisconsin.
At American Tourister, we've always subjected our luggage to some pretty harsh treatment. So we took it to Islands of Adventure theme park at Universal Orlando, where it met Rex. American Tourister. Tough luggage for a tough world.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious, tangy chicken teriyaki marinade. For fish, meat, or chicken, pour on the original Kikkoman teriyaki. It only tastes complicated.
If you have love questions, call Psychic Talk for a free reading and get the answers you need.
You've been fooling around on your boyfriend.
Well, yeah, I have.
And now you don't know which guy you want.
Right. I want them both.
Well, I'm going to make your choice a lot easier. The guy you're cheating with is married.
He's married?